So alright y'all, welcome to Chris. Today we're going to be discussing why T.I. was in the news so much last week. It wasn't for his music, it wasn't for taking a stand, it's for what he does in particular with his daughter. I'm going to go in depth about that. Just to give you a heads up, it has to do with him and her Hymen. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty touchy subject. Also, we're going to be discussing Alexis Crawford. She has been missing for over a week now. We finally found her body. I'm going to give you an update on that and who's been charged for that as well. I'm also going to be going in depth about what the NCAA was making headlines over the weekend. We had two #1 overall picks for two different sports, college basketball and college football. They're both deemed ineligible. I'm going to tell you why and the repercussions that are going to come. And is there going to be future things the NCAA is going to have to worry about? And lastly, I'm going to talk about what just happened last night. Drake was getting booed at Flognaw. I'm going to tell you why, go in depth, and is this something that's going to continue with Drake going forward? So T.I., like I said, was making headlines last week. And his headline, like I said, wasn't for his music, wasn't for taking a stand. It was for what he does in particular with his daughter. They go on a once-a-year trip to the gynecologist, and T.I. checks to make sure her hymen's still intact. T.I. was basically saying he's had the sex talk with his oldest daughter, who's 18 in her first year at college. He was saying how he still goes to the checkups with her, and she's okay with it. If she's really okay with it, who knows? We're not getting her side of the story, we're getting his side of the story. He even gave examples of specific measures he's taken to make sure her hymen's still intact. After her 16th birthday, he put a sticky note on her door, 9:30, Gyno, let's go. And then he basically goes into more detail, talking about how she has to sign off on him being able to. And he's in there, just like, is there a problem? And all this other stuff. Obviously, the doctor's very uncomfortable. But, you know, T.I. is who he is, so he still makes it happen. And then the doctor wanted to let T.I. know there's also many ways that her hymen can be broken. It can be broken by horseback riding. It can be broken through sports. It can be broken through many physical activities. But T.I. wasn't trying to hear it. He's saying, my daughter don't do horseback riding. She don't do sports. He was just like, just check the results, doc, and give them back to me as soon as possible, or as T.I. says, expeditiously. But, you know, I don't like saying that shit. But either way, this led to outrage. And this was outrage, you know, from women, from a lot of people, because she's grown now, and she's still being held to these standards by T.I. because he knows as of her 18th birthday, it's still intact. There's a lot of people saying T.I. doesn't do this to his sons, but he does this to his daughters. He's clearly displaying double standards, which isn't right. You gotta treat your kids fairly. And also my thing is T.I., you raised her. If you raised her well enough, she should know better, right from wrong. She should know when the right time it is to have that, and she wouldn't be out just quickly rushing to have sex if you raised her and taught her right. Clearly, you have some insecurities about your own upbringing of her, because how you're going through these drastic measures to make sure she's not having sex. But you also don't realize to give a blowjob, your hymen don't have to be involved. And to have anal, your hymen does not have to be involved. And I know this because I grew up in Vegas. And in Vegas, there's a lot of Mormons. And you know, Mormons, they're very religious and they want to save themselves for marriage. But what the girls would do in the meantime, so they're like, oh, I'm not having sex, but they would, one, give blowjobs, or two, take anal. So that's what they do as drastic measures when they have fathers or strict people in their lives. Who's to say T.I.'s daughter's not doing this now? And who's to say when she's finally able to do whatever she wants on her own without her dad's help that she's not going to talk to him anymore or have him out of her life? Because when you're too overbearing, it's gonna hold resentment with the kids, and whether you like it or not, whether you love them or not, you do whatever it takes to make sure they succeed and be there. If you hold them to that type of standard and you're not holding your sons to that standard, there's definitely gonna be resentment. So who knows, maybe for her 19th she's not gonna finally get checked with T.I., but with him, he's probably paying for her education. So he goes, if I'm paying for your education, I'm gonna check your hymen or something. will keep intact. But like I said, yeah, T.I. was getting a lot of flack for it. Some guys, you know, were defending it like he just wants to make sure his girl's safe. But like I said, guys, you want to protect the women, but then you also, when you were in those shoes at age 18, you were wanting them to get out of their pants too. So the double standard is astounding. If you're allowing your sons to have it, you gotta allow your daughters to be mature as well, because they're all adults at that point. I don't know. So you let me know in the comments. If you're the wife of a husband who had stance like T.I., would you, 1, stand up for yourself and your daughter? 2, would you just say, I'm done with you and leaving? Also, if you were the daughter, how would you feel? Would you hold resentment toward your dad? Would you be the one that would be doing other promiscuous stuff that doesn't involve the hymen? Or would you actually just listen and obey because your dad has provided you with many opportunities, you're well off, you got a good income, you're probably set for life, so you're like, I'll just listen to my dad and be good? And for you fellas, how do you guys feel about this? Are you taking the stance of T.I., or would you be the one who's like, man, you being pretty hypocritical as shit, and you gotta let your daughters grow up no matter what. You being overbearing isn't gonna help. So yeah, please let me know in the comments. So Alexis Crawford went to Clark Atlanta University, obviously in Georgia. And she had a roommate, and her roommate name was Jordan Jones. And Jordan had a boyfriend named Barron, and they were together. So apparently, before Alexis was deemed missing, a day or two before, Alexis filed a police report to Atlanta Police Department saying that Jordan's boyfriend Barron was doing unwanted touching and kissing on her. And you know, so she did what she did to protect herself. As you know, typically with no evidence, police just push it away. Oh, it's not that big of a deal, you'll be okay. You know, she filed it, went back to her home, and then like I said, she was deemed missing October 31st. Keep in mind that her roommate, we all saw her Instagram and some of her social media. She was on Instagram saying, please find my roommate, she's lost, all this other jumbo. But like I said, fast forward, we get to Friday, and Jordan and Barron are the ones that identify the body because they're the ones that killed her. They say she died from asphyxiation, and that's from being suffocated to death and not being able to breathe. So they choked her to death, did all these things. For what? Because she reported your boyfriend. So on October 27th, this is when that incident occurred where I talked about Barron did some unwanted kissing. Barron said he thought Alexis was his girlfriend, so it was a misunderstanding. But Alexis also said she went to the restroom and he followed her into it. So if you knew at that point that wasn't your girlfriend, why are you following her into the restroom? And then the roommate, Jordan, said she found Alexis in the bathroom with only her bra on. So you know, this shit is not adding up. Clearly, so she found her in the bathroom, nothing but her bra and a pair of cut panties. So clearly someone was trying to coerce themselves onto her, Barron, but of course, police didn't look into her or press charges or anything because there was no valid proof for them. And then also Alexis said she doesn't even recall the bathroom thing. She was passed out, maybe she was too drunk, who knows what happened. But Brantley or Barron denies having sex with her, but either way, the police report was filed. She was very uncomfortable, and that's a nasty situation in itself. And some more details. Jordan, when the police came for the missing person report, said she wasn't on speaking terms, not because of that incident, because of a separate incident that happened a day or two before that wasn't stated in the report. But either way, Alexis was very uncomfortable. She went from living in her bedroom to living in the living room. So the last time any family member had contact with Alexis was the day before Halloween. She FaceTimed him, seemed everything was normal, telling him I love you and I can't wait to see you. So with all this information, and like I said, fast forward, we found her on Friday. We figured out that she died from asphyxiation, from being suffocated. The two roommates ended up taking the police to her body because they're the ones who killed her. Barron has a history now that they unveiled. He has been charged with hindering a person making an emergency telephone call and violating probation, stemming from family battery, cruelty to children, and theft, jail records show. So Barron already had a past, and he already had this incident with her like a few days before. I'm starting to believe that this Jordan girl was just too infatuated with this man and went with him. It was like, we gotta get rid of her. So now both of their lives are ruined forever. He probably, like I said, reading that past, he was gonna be doing something down the line that was gonna get him locked up. But for Jordan, you're 21. Like I said, when you show this picture, you're a very good looking girl and you threw it all away for this ain't shit nigga, you know what I mean? And I'm tired of seeing this. Like, what of her telling to the police department that she felt uncomfortable was gonna lead to her being choked out to death? And how does that even equal? You guys literally threw your life away over a stupid ass incident, and I feel so sorry for Alexis' family and all this tragedy. She was going to college to get an education, and she gets killed because of these two cupcakers are mad that he made a move on her and she wasn't feeling it. It's very stupid. It's very sad, and when are these things gonna end? When are people gonna be more sensible and use their brains and like, I'm not trying to spend the rest of my life in prison over this, and maybe I can just move the fuck on or move out or move. Yeah, you would have the rest of your life to do whatever the fuck you want. Now you gonna be sitting behind bars and doing what? Getting fucked. So hope it was worth it. And like I said, to Alexis and your family, I'm very sad and sorry, but at least the body was found and y'all can give her a proper funeral. Okay, so also the biggest talk as far as sports this week, NCAA, which is, for college athletics. Two projected #1 picks. We have Chase Young and we have James Wiseman. Chase Young is for the NFL, James Wiseman is for the NBA. And both of these players were deemed academically ineligible, and for two separate incidents. So the incident for Chase Young is he accepted a loan and paid it back. And he accepted this loan so his girlfriend could go see him at the Rose Bowl. If you don't know what the Rose Bowl, it's one of the biggest college bowls outside of the college playoffs. Either way, it's a big deal, and you want someone that cares for you and supports you. He got the money, he paid it back. That shouldn't be a big deal. Me and you in the real world, I loan you $1,000. You give it back to me in 3 or 4 months. Is the NCAA talking about it? No. But because Chase Young's a future #1 overall pick, and this can be deemed booster worthy, now he's suspended up to potentially 4 games. All for what? We took a loan so his girlfriend could see him play. Keep in mind, these guys don't get paid anything. They bring in you billions of dollars. College football is like the second most profitable to NFL. And these kids can't even get their girlfriends to go. If they do, now they're getting suspended. They're potentially losing money in the NFL. Obviously, Chase Young won't because he's that talented, but not everyone is Chase Young, and people could potentially lose money over that. And this is where NCAA is so out of touch. And they're so out of touch that now states are coming up with this new likeness so players can get paid for their likeness. NCAA doesn't like it because they want to keep these kids down. But I'm going to say within the next either 2 to 5 years, NCAA is either going to have to really change their standards or they're going to really have to come down because people aren't having this anymore, and it's really ridiculous. Okay, so let me talk about James Wiseman. So James Wiseman, he goes to Memphis. Penny Hardaway, a legend, basketball legend. He's the coach for Memphis. He wasn't a coach when he gave this money to Wiseman in 20. So Penny gave him thousands of dollars to move to Memphis from Nashville. And like I said, this was before Penny was the coach. So he knows him. He's a family friend and all that. He was trying to help him out so he can have a better opportunity. But because Penny went to Memphis, he gave Memphis $1 million, his alma mater, way back in 2008, $1 million. He's deemed a booster. And because he's deemed a booster, him being able to give that thousands of dollars is now an edge, so he could have recruited Wiseman. But like I said, Penny didn't know he was going to be the coach at that time, and Penny was just trying to help him get off his feet. Now James Wiseman loses his whole season. Penny still gets to be the coach, And that doesn't even make sense. The kid's punished, but the adult isn't. It just shows the disconnect of the NCAA. They don't get it. Either way, like I said, in the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like the NCAA is going to either be humbled, be replaced, or they're, like I said, who knows? But this shit's coming to an end because it's really ridiculous. These kids shouldn't be suspended. If they were taking that one incident where Ayton took like 100,000, that's understandable. Suspend him. Yeah, that makes sense. But these kids are doing these things to go to a Rose Bowl or just to have a better opportunity. I can't agree with it. So you guys let me know in the comments. Do you think the NCAA was right for what they did to both Chase Young and James Wiseman? Or do you think NCAA is ridiculous and always over the top? And do you think NCAA will be replaced in the next 2 to 5 years like I feel? So this last one is fresh off the presses. Drake, he was a special guest to perform at Camp Flognaw last night. And the fans really thought it was going to be Frank Ocean. So let me show you this clip real quick.
Hey, paranoid. Always rolling with my motherfucking boys. But you gotta understand when it's yours, they don't really need your ass with a motherfucking choice, man. Flognaw, make some noise for yourself tonight. You know, I'ma tell you, like I said, I'm here for you tonight. If you want to keep going, I will keep going tonight. What's up? If you want to keep going, I will keep going tonight. Well, look, it's been love. I love y'all. I go by the name of Drake. Thank you for having me.
So as you can see, Drake really wasn't feeling the vibe. He asked the crowd, do you even want me to perform? They were like, no, and all that. And then he went off the stage, left 30 minutes earlier. I wonder if Tyler's still gonna have to pay him for the full thing or what that's up. But my thing for bringing this up, I don't think this happens to Drake before all the Pusha T stuff, before he was in the NBA finals acting a fool every play. I feel like Drake, you really used to be king, but he ain't king anymore because he was humble. And maybe I'm over reading into it and these people just were mad because Drake wasn't Frank Ocean. You know, Odd Future. I'm a big Frank Ocean fan. I like Odd Future. I ain't going to Camp Flognaw, but like I said, I would really support Frank and I understand why they're mad. But it's still Drake. Drake's a legend. Drake makes hits. Drake makes music that you can vibe to. Really great for a concert. So I wouldn't be booing Drake. But the fact that Drake's going through this type of stuff, I don't think he goes through this before the Pusha T stuff, all the other things like I was saying before. So Drake's human. I wonder if this human humbling is going to stay going forward, or is this just like a one-time thing because these are a bunch of skater kids that don't want to hear Drake maybe, but who knows? Yeah, Drake's really in uncharted territory because I never really recall the time him being booed off stage. So this is something to keep tabs on going forward to see if this is just a one-time thing or is Drake gonna be dealing with some more animosity in his future. So yeah, this was a pretty busy week. Once again, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the T.I. situation. I also want to hear you guys' thoughts on the NCAA situation. If you have any thoughts and prayers about the Alexis Crawford, I'd love to hear it. And if you think Drake's reign is starting to end or you think this was just a one-time thing, please let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notification bell, like, comment, share this video with your friends if you enjoyed it. This is Chris. I'm out this motherfucker.